Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 38 of Tailgate Update. This is, of course, with Julie Miller, Ryan Besaw, and me. I'm Jay Moffitt, and I'll try to stay out of the way as these two hit some hard-hitting discussions. And we're going to open up today with the only thing that's really, really, really compelling, which is the NHL playoffs. Ryan, why don't you throw some thoughts out there?
Yeah, we have one team that's all set for the Stanley Cup final. The Florida Panthers advanced last night, defeating the Rangers 2-1 in Game 6. They took the series 4-2. Tonight we have the Dallas Stars taking on the Edmonton Oilers. Oilers lead that series 3-2. I don't know who's going to beat Florida. Either team out of the West, I don't think they're going to hold up against Florida. Florida's on a whole different level right now.
They usually are. Florida man is no joke, okay?
Florida man, yeah.
And it seemed to me as though on June 3rd there's going to be another game, right? Or is that no longer the case for the Panthers and the Rangers?
No, Panthers closed out the series last night.
Okay.
So that was an if necessary game. Yeah.
Right. And then, if necessary, Edmonton and Dallas will finish out their game on June 4th. So
yeah.
We're in the thick of it. We're almost at the end here.
Yeah, we're almost crossing the finish line for the NHL playoffs. That series with the Rangers in Florida was absolutely incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Will that be a prime time tonight, Ryan?
Yeah, I think it starts at 8 on TNT.
They'll have it all to themselves.
Yeah.
Especially if it goes to Game 7.
There's no NBA going on right now. All they have to do is compete with Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN, but they're going to be on TNT at 8 o'clock. They're out in the open, national audience. It's do or die for Dallas, and Edmonton has a chance to close out with Draisaitl and McDavid, and Skinner is coming out of nowhere in net. So, got a lot going for them right now, and let's see if they pull into Edmonton and choke it away tonight.
Yeah, you were talking last week about how it was seemed to be a lot more compelling than the NBA was going to be, and it just held true to form. I mean, 14 possible games, and they played 9 in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
They got over with in a hurry.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Dallas, they might have a decent summer started off in Dallas this year. They might have the Mavericks and the Stars in the finals.
Yeah.
You can't beat that.
That's absolutely true. One last thing before we get off the NHL, talk a little bit about the Seattle Kraken hiring Don Belema as their new head coach.
Second head coach in franchise history. Two coaches in 3 years of existence. Right? Or 4 years.
He hasn't coached at the NHL since 2017, so that's already off to a rousing start. And why I think why they're picking him is because he's been coaching for Seattle's AHL affiliate team for the last couple of years. So I think he's kind of got his way up in there that way.
Yeah. I mean, if you're working within the organization, a lot of teams like to hire within, so.
Yeah, even if it's.
Yeah, sometimes it's a head scratcher. I mean, it was a head scratcher for David Quinn to be released, so.
Yeah, just kind of building on that momentum, huh?
It's a very Seattle thing to do.
Okay, this is funny and random. I had my car parked sort of like to the side so that I could get some groceries out. And this truck was driving by, and they were having a hard time fitting between me and the car next to me. And they're like, "Those Seattle drivers!" And then they said an expletive because I have a Washington license plate, and I was just like, "What do to you?" Anyway, yeah. So when you said that's a very Seattle thing, that reminded me of that.
I mean, just making bonehead decisions after bonehead decision, right?
You don't have to remind me. I'm a Seahawks fan. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to get into it or I might get too riled up. Let's get into the NBA.
Okay. Well, we are just set from a couple of days ago, and I'm going to throw my thoughts out there as far as I think Boston's been kind of overlooked. Everybody talks about the injuries on the other side, but
Hmm.
I mean, literally, they've gotten 12 wins and only lost twice. That's just really consistent. I mean, I know they had a lot of people hurt the other side, but I mean, Porzingis is probably their third, at worst, their fourth best player, you know, and he's been out and he might be back for the finals. So they've been playing at a somewhat of an under their full complement. But 12-2 going through the first three rounds is pretty historic, even for the East. So they went through that pretty well, and Dallas just made everyone look silly for thinking that Minnesota had a chance. I don't think anyone really saw this coming. Everyone was crowning Minnesota after beating Denver, and uh, I mean they had nothing against Dallas.
I They had Dallas in a couple of those games, Minnesota, and they just kind of fell apart at the end. I don't know what happened. I didn't really watch the series. I just, kind of saw the box score and a couple of highlights here and there, but they just they should have been on a high after beating Denver in game 7. They went up 2 on that series. They should have been on a high after coming through, falling behind 3-2, winning the last 2 games of the series. They just fell apart. They had them Dallas at least 2 times in that series. The series should probably be 3-2 right now, Dallas, but Minnesota just fell over. They just kind of flopped. What else can you do? Dallas, like I said last week, Dallas kind of trudged along, ran the marathon like it is, stuck between 4th and 6th in the standings, didn't really want to go elevate themselves above that. They really conserved themselves this year, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not a big NBA playoff watcher. I know that might be shocking to you, but I really kind of feel like this shit drags, because we're going to be going on almost the entire month of June with just these 2 teams playing. And I'm just like, how do you do this? It feels like the playoffs are like, I guess I'm used to a more concise system because I feel like we just watch the same, and it's the same teams over and over and over. So we're gonna be in this thing until June 23rd. Um, and the Celtics, I always want to call it Celtics because that's my education level, and the Mavericks are gonna face off on June 6th. So we'll catch it at 8:30.
Yeah, the only thing I had to say about the way that Minnesota really couldn't handle it in the fourth quarters was the fact that uh, they had gotten from Utah as part of the Gobert trade. They'd gotten Mike Conley,
Mm-hmm.
and Mike was hurt a little bit into the second game, calf strain, and
Yeah.
then like at the end of game 4, he pretty much goes out. But that's the game that they looked decent. He was in there during that run when they built up that 20 or 25 point lead and held on to it uh, against the Mavericks. But then he was like pretty much out or ineffective in the last game. And he is their only real veteran in the backcourt. And Kyrie and Luka, even during the year when they both were playing and both were healthy, they were so big and so strong. Dallas looked really, really good, but they weren't. They both been known for their injuries, Kyrie and Luka, and for Kyrie to be off the court sometimes for personal reasons. So,
Yeah. I want to go back to the overrate or overlooked comment about Boston. They they did get some breaks all the way through. They've kind of had a cakewalk through the Eastern Conference. They didn't get to face Jimmy Butler.
mm-hmm.
Knocked Miami out in 5. They who was it? Halliburton or
Halliburton
Halliburton? Yeah, out early. Didn't have to deal with him in the Eastern Conference Finals. Smoked them. They Indiana probably could have had them in game 2. Blew the lead. Boston came back, smoked them. Things like that happen. But we got to remember, Boston also beat 3 teams by 50 points this year. and Indiana was one of them back in October, I think, or November.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really think they're overlooked. I think they're a really good team, but you have to also look at the fact that they've had a cakewalk because they haven't had to face a Jimmy Butler or a Halliburton,
Very true.
But I think Dallas is definitely an underdog coming into this series, but you can't really overlook what Dallas is doing right now with the team they have.
Yeah.
But Boston should definitely be heavily favored in this series.
Yeah. The only other notable story really worth touching on in the NBA this week is Hall of Famer Bill Walton passing away, 71 years old, and noted commentator.
Of cancer complications,
Yep.
unfortunately. He was the league's MVP for 1977 and 1978 season.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been talking about this recently, the average NBA player dies at 81.3 years old.
Really?
In fact, yep.
Wow. It's a lot older than NFL players, huh?
Yeah, that one's about in the 50s. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, with boxing. I just did a whole nother article about that. Yeah, so
now,
they
Bill, he had injury issues when he first came in the league, right? He had a foot injury that lasted seemingly like 4 years.
They probably didn't even have foot surgeries back then. Don't even get me started on what they used to do.
I agree with Julie. It was so rudimentary back then compared to now, but yeah, I believe it was like close to a dozen. I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say I don't want to go on the record with that, but we are recording, so I guess I am on the record with that. But I mean, when you have a person whose main awards are he was the MVP, and then like 8 or 10 years later, he's the sixth man of the year. That's like a huge gradient in the accomplishment and everything. That the foot injuries just really bogged him down and everything. And being from Memphis, I mean, there's two different weird connections with Bill Walton. Was the fact that his his NCAA title, they beat the Memphis Tigers. The only time they've been second time that they were in the finals. He was 21 of 22 from the field that day, which is still just unthinkable, 44 points. And the other weird connection is that the winningest head coach for Memphis Grizzlies was Lionel Hollins, and Hollins played with Bill Walton on that team that won the NBA championship back in the late 70s.
Look at that.
Yeah, he won 2 NBA championships, one in 77 and one in 86.
Yeah, with the Celtics.
He won in 77 with the Blazers. He was Finals MVP that year, actually.
I just said that.
He was MVP of the league that year too, and he was also Finals MVP, like NBA Finals MVP. Come on now. Anyways,
that's a good double.
That's a double up.
Think about it.
That's a double up.
It's very nuanced of you, Ryan.
Yeah. Yeah. He was pretty key in the 86 finals as well with Boston over the Lakers. Or sorry, not over the Lakers. It was over the Rockets. Yep. He was pretty key in that series. So fun fact also, his son won 2 rings with the Lakers in 2009, 2010.
Very cool.
Yeah, Luke played with the Lakers for a while with Kobe. Was that?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Okay. I think Kobe had a funny joke. He got in an argument with Luke in practice, and he goes, "We all know he's in the league because of his daddy."
Whoa.
Oh.
Well,
if fighting works like that, we can get into the WNBA. Oh, look at that transition. And I have the lowdown on this one, Jay. So after you introduce it, boof.
Okay, well, I'm throwing it to you, Julie. I mean, the whole thing is just Caitlin Clark. What's
Mm-hmm.
going on?
Yeah, so we all saw it. She got shouldered to the ground by Kennedy Carter, or hip check. Some people say shoulder, some people say hip, some people say both. Either way, she wouldn't. It was a hard check. From another angle, when they were looking at it, it appeared that Clark had lightly pushed her, but certainly even so, like right before the hip check, but even so, that certainly would not uh excuse that behavior, of course. And at the time, no foul was given, which has since changed, right, Ryan? She now has a
She was upgraded to a flagrant one after the play was not reviewed in Saturday's game.
right, which pissed people off because it just kind of happened, and the refs were like, doo doo. So, Angela Reese was cheering Kennedy Carter's little performance on. It was the first to greet her after the play, which is great optics wise. And then later in the game, Reese threw a shoulder at Clark, which was not fouled either at the time. But now she's been Ryan. She got a fine, right?
Reese, right? You talking about Reese?
Yes.
Yeah, she got a 1K fine for not being available to media after the game. And the the Chicago Sky, they were fined 5K for that whole fiasco. So
Right, Chicago Sky and the Indiana Fevers, right?
yeah,
Yeah, and then Chrissy Sides, the Fevers head coach, was saying she's going to send some of the questionable calls to the league to review. She was really upset, obviously. And then the GM, Lynn Dunn, tweeted on Twitter or X saying there's a difference between tough defense and unnecessary targeting actions. She said it needs to stop. The league needs to clean up the crap. That's not what this league is. So,
amen.
right.
I never saw this. Like I rarely watch the WNBA because it's hardly ever on TV, and when it is on TV, it's on at weird times. But when I do watch, you don't ever see this crap happening. Now Clark is the face as a rookie of this league, and people are beating the hell out of her, almost in like a jealous rage.
Yes.
Like because she's getting all this publicity. She's bringing people to your league. She is bringing new viewers.
Yeah,
and you're beating the hell out of her.
Because he said literally she's your bread and butter, you know. She's bringing all the people to her milkshake is bringing everybody to the yard, okay? And so for them to like be then brutalizing her.
It's
and
like
for the refs to just be like so oblivious. It's one thing for players to be this aggressive because of the jealousy you're mentioning. It's another thing for the refs to just be like do every time too.
It's like the Rolling Stones beating up Mick Jagger because everybody's coming to watch him sing.
Kind of like that.
Yeah,
I would just point out whether we were talking about WNBA or NBA or anything else, the All-Star game where they froze out Michael Jordan. You look at Tiger Woods, there was tons of resentment with him getting huge endorsement deals before he'd ever hit his first shot on the PGA Tour. Even back in the 70s with a guy that I used to just idolize in tennis, Andre Agassi. Some of the older ones like McEnroe and Jimmy Connors just really hated him because he had huge endorsement deals because of the flowing locks and the whole charisma that he had that McEnroe and Jimmy Connors were just kind of, stodgy type of personalities. And so there's kind of been a history in sports to where there's always growing pains when you got somebody that as a personality is getting more attention than the sport. But on the other hand, I was one of the people, and I take my knocks for this. I was dead wrong. Thinking 6 or 8 weeks ago that Caitlin Clark couldn't take this kind of, supernova thing forward to the WNBA, which I don't know anyone that watches and don't know hardly anyone that pays any attention to it. But now when I'm on any social media or even with my friends, they're aware and they can discuss and everything. I said, okay, I was wrong. She did. They're still talking about it.
Mhm.
And it was, yeah, it's just, it literally does transcend the sport. She's just taken it to the next level.
Amen.
Yeah, she's that. She's her. That's all I'm gonna say. She's her.
Okay, I think we're about rounded up the WNBA part. Her team is catching a little bit of, you know,
They're catching some flack because they're not protecting her.
yeah, they're catching some flack, but they are making a few wins here and there. Got their
Mhm.
first home win the other night, and even when they're getting beat, they're not getting just killed. It's not 30, 40 points. They're losing 10 or 15 in their losses and winning a couple close games. So
Well, there's a reason why
hopefully,
they're picking one. So
yeah,
Mm.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're picking one and then you've still picked up a couple, 3 wins along the way early on, and I
mhm.
think they said that their team had 8 games played before the other teams had their fourth. They were putting them on TV every opportunity to get her
Just about
promotion.
every game of the Fever will be
Yeah.
televised. Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess we're ready to roll over to Major League Baseball and to Ronald Acuna out for the remainder of the season with a torn left ACL. So, Julie, I'm thinking maybe you got a note or two on that.
I sure do.
Okay.
So, a 6 to 9 month recovery time minimum, almost exclusively. That's the same for the first and the second surgery. Assuming that he gets the surgery, he will get surgery. There's usually only a 5% chance of re-tearing an ACL with the surgery. It's pretty unusual. And the second surgery, of course, is always harder because everything is already kind of torn up in there, and they've already gone in there and restructured all the good stuff in there. I don't have all my notes on ligaments and tendons and stuff, but they create some artificial things, and so when that tears too, then they have to go back in there. And and it's usually indicative of a bigger problem, like biomechanically, with like the hips, the knees, kind of like skeletal structure. If you continue to tear an ACL, it's usually
Mm.
things going on with the body, because it's, again, there's only a 5% chance of re-tearing it. Even with athletes, it's not that high. 2 to 10% I've also heard. So it's still not that common either way.
Mm. It is his second ACL tear in 3 years. So,
Yeah.
I think he tore his right one 2 years ago, and he
Oh,
came
so
back.
this is a different. Okay, well, still, even if it's if you tear one, often the other knee has to compensate for this knee, and so it's not unusual for one to tear and then the other one to tear.
Mhm.
But again, there'd still probably be some kind of biomechanical issue, but it is good to know that it's not the same knee, because that's even more concerning. So
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he tore his right one in 2021, came back the year after and won MVP, I believe. So it might have been 2022 that he tore it. I don't know. But yeah, either way, it's the second ACL tear and is like the last half decade. So pretty concerning for the Braves, in my opinion. Got to keep their star healthy in some way or shape or form. I don't know if you convert him to a DH or what, but something's got to give because he's taking a pounding on his knees apparently, and it's resulting in long-term injuries.
and someone with bad knees would be like that sometimes, you know?
Yeah, shit like that happens.
Yeah.
And the Padres are putting Yu Darvish and Joe Musgrave on the injured list right now.
And a little fun fact for this one: a groin strain typically takes 4 to 8 weeks to come back from. And elbow inflammation, also known as tennis elbow, it sounds like what it is about 3 months. And I did see that it's not season ending for him, according to the team. And it also sidelined him for 16 days last month. So if he shouldn't even be playing. If he had 16 days of out time last, like it's the typical recovery time is 3 months. So if you're out that many days last month, you should not be back in this month. Like, get it together. Where are these medicine people?
Of course, if you come back too early from elbow inflammation, you probably end up tearing UCL, which ends in Tommy John surgery.
Something. It's never a good idea, or it'll just keep lagging on and on and on. So it's like, okay, like maybe just keep him. You already had him out for 16. You could have done a couple, with the rest of it too. I don't know.
Absolutely.
And the big umpiring move this week was the retirement of Angel Hernandez.
Right.
Yeah, I was going to say. Ryan, can you say a little bit about Angel Hernandez? I don't believe there was a ceremony.
And can you foresee the future on any other events?
CB Buckner might be next. That dude might be the worst umpire in the league. I said last week he's middle of the pack when it comes to behind the plate. He only umpired 6 games behind the plate, but Angel Hernandez probably should have been fired a long time ago. The magnitude and the timing of his horrible calls are just perfect timing and really draws the attention to him instead of at the game. I don't know. This dude complained because he wasn't chosen for a World Series crew, and you wonder why. When you make 3 calls in the same inning that get overturned by replay, yeah, you're not gonna ump a World Series game, let alone a series, buddy. So, good riddance. Now on to CB Buckner.
I was going to say, they've started doing and I wanted to get y'all's input on this. They started doing like you said, the percentages on the balls and strikes and everything.
Yeah.
I really thought once they started doing that from the behind the plate, that the accuracy would be more around 85%. And you read all that stats off last week, and like the worst of them were like at 90.
Mm-hmm.
And it was some of the poorer ones were around 92 or 93, which is not bad when you consider human error. That's like 8-10%.
And when you have one guy that's at 96, almost 97% calling, one game with 212 pitches in it, I mean, it's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Especially if you factor in the human error. I'm not impressed with a lot of umpires because their strike zone changes throughout the game. I mean, if one pitcher throws a ball in the same area twice and you call it a ball and a strike, something wrong there.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'm just glad they're not bringing robo umps because umpiring is part of the game. You gotta adjust to it. You gotta deal with it, but at the same time, you also have to bitch about it and call them out for being so terrible. I mean, come on.
That's true. I mean, was the reaction about what you expected? Because I've read a lot of umpiring talk online, and I don't see it that much in my timeline. Everyone seemed to have an opinion about Angel Hernandez. Some of them were pretty hilarious.
He's ruined a lot of games for a lot of fan bases and a lot of players. He also likes to eject people very quickly.
Okay.
So again, back to the making the game about him.
Yeah,
he's soft as a pudding cup.
Yeah. I was going to say, unless anybody else has anything to add about the major leagues, we're going to move over to NFL.
Perfect.
Drew Brees, he's in the mood to return to the broadcasting booth. Any thoughts about that from either of y'all?
I have a quote, but I can't.
You have a quote?
But I love them so much. So Drew Brees said, the thing that I wanted to do most that I felt like I could bring the most value at was broadcasting NFL games. And it was the thing I had the least opportunity to do, right? I was able to do a little bit at college at Notre Dame, just 2 NFL games, broadcasting that were 8 weeks apart, and then the studio stuff, right? But man, I love the game, and I would love to broadcast NFL games. At some point again, I think I could be the best at it. And then he says, until he gets an offer with Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football, or Thursday Night Football, he will continue coaching.
I think Drew was pretty good at being an analyst on Sunday Night Football. However, I would like to hear him broadcast for Fox, take over for Mark Sanchez, because Mark Sanchez, as good of an analyst he is, he's very annoying to listen to. And he always talks with a question at the end of his sentences. So does a lot of high pitch at the end of his sentence, like he's saying a question. And it's kind of annoying.
Caleb is in the house.
Oh, Caleb's here.
He is on Mr. Mom duty right now, so that is why he was out for the first half, but we were happy to have him for this one. So you want Mark Sanchez replaced because he has too many questions.
It's not that he's asking questions. It's the fact that he says things like it's a question. Like, what is the powerhouse of the cell? The mitochondria? That's what he would sound like.
Yeah, well, after his little brown on brown crime comment, he might find himself on the so.
Yeah, I think he's replacing Greg Olson on the A team though, for Fox.
I thought Tom Brady was.
I don't think he's going fully into the broadcasting. I think he's doing a couple of games here and there, but I don't think he's doing the full like slate thing. But yeah, fun fact though. Drew also was in the media this week because he says that he had 3 years left in him, but his arm wouldn't allow it. So that's an arm injury he dealt with since like 2003. So
yeah, now he can't even pick up his kids very easily. So maybe he should just stay his ass where he's at.
Well, he has to now, but damn.
Yeah, I mean, we could see that as a Saints fan by proxy. It was very clear that his arm was just kind of giving out, and it was really hard to watch because it's like we all knew what he could do, what he wanted to do, and then what he actually did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, his arm strength, yeah.
Yeah, Caleb, we just rolled into the NFL. We're talking about Drew Brees possibly returning to broadcasting. So, do you have any thoughts about Drew Brees?
I did not know that. Was it a rough go his first time around? Was he just not very good?
He said he only did 2 games, 8 weeks apart, and then some of the studio stuff. He wasn't great. I remember watching him and being like, oh God, because he was like, at least during the games, he was like really stiff and uninteresting. Like his charisma did not translate to me. And he's a handsome guy who was like naturally kind of a people person. So I was really surprised. I feel like it didn't translate well. But I think, like, again, he did point out it was 2 games, 8 weeks apart. And so that's not really the kind of experience, so maybe he should get another shot.
Yeah, I think he has like that natural aura about him, like on the field. So, and maybe he's just out of his element a little bit, but 2 games in 8 weeks, and that's it for your resume. That's tough to build on that. So I think you should definitely get a shot and see what he can actually do. Be exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I mean, there's been several other iconic players that just did not pan out as analysts.
Yeah.
All the time.
Maybe it's just not his thing. But
I mean,
we'll see.
Mean Joe Green was kind of bad in the booth too.
Yeah. Montana was bad.
They are CTE, and then they're trying to go in there with a memory shorter than a goldfish, and they're trying to like keep up with what's happening during the game, and it doesn't add up.
Yeah, in all reality, they just want to get in there and play themselves. That's probably all they're thinking
literally
about. So, yeah.
It's true. Yeah, I've got very little on Drew Brees, except I'm one of those people that I just don't think a quarterback should automatically be offered the job as a broadcaster. And I didn't find anything really appealing about him in his press conference or anything. I mean, when you win a Super Bowl, when you won playoff games, things like that, nothing he ever said really stood out to me or just really stuck with me. So I never was of the thought, oh, this guy should really go into broadcasting, as opposed to other people that, even people that I thought should go into broadcasting, then hear them broadcasting and think, I was just wrong. They
Yeah.
shouldn't.
Yeah, I'm kind of worried about the Brady thing coming because
Yeah.
as smart of a mind as he is, he might just bomb. And
The only reason that he's not getting like shamed for what looks like a lot of botched plastic surgery is because he's a dude, but he looks strange.
I don't pay attention.
He
Yeah,
like
no
I
comment.
don't
Don't
care.
know.
he
Don't
looks
know.
very unnatural. It's disorienting. It's like his cheekbones are way higher, his face is way narrower. I'm just saying, I don't want to see it every week. Okay, it's
He
crazy.
does not look like Tom Brady at all.
Yes, thank you. Like
It's so it's so weird, man.
I don't want to see it every week. It's enough. Like the photos are enough. During the game is enough with the helmet. Like I don't want to. Yeah,
I'm
He
just
needs,
glad
he
I'm
needs to
seeing
put
him every
some
Sunday.
pounds back on.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. At least Caleb knows what I'm talking about because
Yeah, I've been feeling the same way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the next topic we've got to look at is Nico Collins. The Texans are signing him for a 3-year deal for $72 million.
Almost 73.
Yeah,
52 million guaranteed.
that's
They're pairing
really a
that.
lot
They're
guaranteed. Yeah,
they're pairing that with Joe Mixon in the backfield and Stephon Diggs now.
Good for him.
Stroud's got some weapons to throw to, as if he didn't last year. But got some weapons to work with.
They're gonna be a fun team this year.
They were a fun team last
excited.
year.
I know, but now they got Stephon Diggs, and Diggs in his first year with any team is always electric. So
Yeah, well, let's see how long it is before he starts crying that Stroud takes off running instead of throwing him the ball 50 yards downfield.
you got a year of that at least. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
it might come out of the AFC this year.
Over at Baltimore and Kansas City? That's a lot.
I mean, what has Baltimore done in the playoffs the past 6-7 years? Nothing.
Choking an AFC championship game, yeah. Well, I don't think they'll come out of the AFC because the guys in the stripes really like Patrick Mahomes. So
yeah,
they do. True.
So it's hard. It's hard to face two teams. You know.
Yeah,
it's really hard.
It's a handicap match every time.
Yeah. No.
It might be the end for Kansas City, though. I mean, the State Farm curse will catch up with you eventually.
oh,
It has to, right?
Are you saying
Just
Mahomes is going to tear his Achilles in like year 13?
it might not be literal. It's more figurative than that. Jesus.
This isn't a Madden curse. It's just a State Farm curse.
State
He
Farm
broke
curse,
the
yeah.
Madden curse. Come on.
Yeah,
He
Not
did.
we're still waiting on Chris Paul to win an NBA championship. You know, so
Ain't gonna happen.
it's real.
Never going to
Especially
happen.
if he goes to Chicago like he's rumored to right now. It ain't gonna happen, brother.
Nah. 20 years after the Lakers failed trade, he's going to go to LA.
If the Bulls won 50 games in a year, though, they'd probably have a parade at this point. So there's that.
All right.
I was going to say, speaking of money, Lamar Jackson is giving up some. He's opting out of his
Dummy.
OTAs and giving up that bonus money for.
What a dummy.
Okay, Julie, what are your thoughts on it, Julie?
Yeah, see, the way the headlines were, I think, and clickbaited me a bit because it felt to me like the way they worded it was that he was giving it up, as in, like, here, use this elsewhere, I guess, was the impression that I got from how they phrased it. No. Lamar's offered $750K to attend 80% of the off-season practices, but he's already exempt from the bonus because he missed too many. I'm like, that is not the way that I thought that was going to pan out when I clicked on it. Okay.
He had the poops. He couldn't make practice.
Yeah, I did a little bit of research, and I'd say a little bit because I don't want y'all to expect me to do research every week. But this week, I know you're shocked.
Oh,
You
Jay.
haven't fallen over your cameras yet. But anyway, I researched it, and you're looking at doing like close to 30 million a year. The OTA bonuses, it's 9 weeks of OTAs, 3 sections of 3 weeks apiece. Okay. The bonus is $750,000, which if you break it down, you're looking about 3 to 4% of his salary. When you're making almost $30 million a year and you've got an optional off-season program for 9 weeks, it's literally like just taking your OTA and still rolling it over until the end of your work career. I mean, 3 to 4%. It's such a little amount of money to somebody that's making 30 million a year.
You could loaf it through OTAs, man. I mean, every dollar counts in this world. He should know better. He's a quarterback. Build a rapport, like I said last week. Build a rapport with somebody. These new receivers. Start chucking them the ball. You can loaf it through practice. You ain't gotta go hard. You ain't gotta scramble around. You ain't gonna get tackled. What are you complaining about? Get your ass up, get out there.
I was thinking OTAs. I was thinking the old days OTAs, 3-4 weeks, 6 weeks, 9-week program. You're buying yourself 9 weeks off from having to show up, and it's only costing you $750,000 out of 30 million a year.
At this point, it's voluntary, right?
He's figuring probably he'll put that on his knees in 3 or
I'm
in
doing
8 or 9
that every
weeks.
time.
Yeah,
every time. I mean, you got 9 weeks of rest.
Yeah, exactly. That's why.
And they don't.
He's had plenty of rest.
They didn't bring anybody new in, right?
He's had rest since the last week of January. Okay, he's had plenty of rest.
Well, so is everybody else.
He's a little injury prone, so I do get that point.
His play style is, I mean, and like you said, Ryan, I mean, it's not like he's out there, run around, get tackled and stuff. It's OTAs, but still, I mean, mental rest is just as well,
I probably would not be out there because that's the kind of commitment that I have to my craft.
I mean, again,
if he goes out there and gets hurt, what's he costing himself at that point? Probably more than $750,000 if it's something bad.
He's had 6 months of rest, mentally and physically. I mean,
we can see it from both directions. I feel like if we're all looking at it, we can all point out both directions why you would or wouldn't, But
all I'm saying is you'd see Peyton Manning out there.
Thank you for that research, Jay.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that was great research.
We're going to roll over to the NFL's dream, the Bears, Hard Knocks.
Yes.
Oh, dear God.
Okay, I'm excited. It's the first time they've ever been on Hard Knocks. And they're featuring, it's going to start on August 6th, so everybody get your calendars out. And obviously the focus will be on Caleb Williams.
I'll be sure to watch something else.
Nobody's asking you to do it.
You better tune in, Ryan. It's your job.
Huh?
Stop being a Lamar Jackson. You were just harping on about it.
Listen, man.
I love it. I'm so excited.
I can think of 15 other things I'd rather do.
About this year, yeah.
I mean, Eberflus.
But I'm in it.
Have you guys seen the before and afters of Eberflus, the Bears head coach?
No.
He's turned into like a mafia boss or something now this offseason. I don't know. After they drafted Caleb Williams, he must be feeling himself. So I'm excited to hear the Eberflus isms for 6 weeks.
Giving himself some false hope.
Sorry?
I said giving himself some false hope.
What false hope of what?
He's a rookie. You can't be feeling yourself because you drafted a rookie. You got to give him at least a year.
We're feeling ourselves. You don't know Chicago, Ryan. We are very much feeling ourselves right now.
I feel myself for Chicago.
Yeah. This is we are up here, my man. Like we are.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Until week 1, his first pick, when he throws his first pick, all Chicago is going to be on fire.
Who you guys playing week 1?
Tennessee, actually.
Oh, you might be able to have him go off week 1.
Wow.
Jay.
And I'm sitting right here too, Ryan. I'm sitting here. I'm not that quiet.
Listen, I just know he's going to have a hard time week 4.
Well, I don't think so.
Oh my God. No, I can't hear Ryan being passive aggressive doing all these dumb jabs because he has repressed like male masculinity issues.
Listen, that has nothing to do with it. Okay, I'm just saying.
I just don't
been there.
have the energy to do it again. So
I've been there. I've been there. I'm just saying. I'd have my expectations a little lower.
I cannot wait for our predictions because Ryan is going to be so wrong this year.
I mean, maybe
Like
it's
you were so wrong last year.
Go back
maybe
and
it's
look at the
being
tape.
out of
I
left
was
field, but you
nails.
know, if you use the thumb and the four, you could, for the first week of Hard Knocks, you could do watch this.
I could do that.
It would be awesome, and have the other thumb for like an exclamation mark. Do all 10 nails, you know, just don't do the 4 and 4.
I might just do one nail for Ryan.
Just for me.
Do the little
Just for
nail
you,
so it
Poppy.
looks like you're a crackhead.
Just for me. Aw.
Just for you, Poppy.
Oh.
No. We don't need to scare the fans.
We need to be PG. Sorry.
I'm gonna get that shirt now. I'm gonna get that shirt. I'm your Poppy.
No.
Okay, before we all turn to violence, let's talk about Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
We're turning to violence. Mike Tyson is violent.
I have the lowdown on this one.
Okay.
Because I do research every week, Jay.
Okay, sorry. You're the one. Yeah.
Yeah, the date for the new fight will be announced next week. And then Tyson had a flare-up during a flight when he felt nauseous and dizzy. And his doctor advised him to only do light training for the next couple weeks, and he should be good to go. These stomach ulcer flare-ups usually only last a few minutes or a few hours, and they kind of heal up fairly quickly, so it's not too big of a deal. And Jake Paul said, "I fully support postponing the event, so Mike Tyson has no excuses come fight night. My fans know I don't want to face Iron Mike at anything but his best. But let there be no mistake, when he steps in a ring with me, I will be ready to claim my W with a sensational finish. Paul versus Tyson will be one for the ages, and I promise to bring my best for this once-in-a-lifetime matchup."
I'm so sick of him.
That was from Jake Paul?
Yes.
That actually sounds halfway thought out.
I'm pretty sure somebody else wrote it for him.
It had to be.
Absolutely. What a goon.
Like, we're all rooting for Mike Tyson when it does happen, right?
Oh, I'm hoping Mike breaks his jaw.
Just knocks his head clean off his body.
Possibly. Yeah, maybe his back. Like something that takes a long time to come back from.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Just
Yeah, heal up Mike Tyson. Take your time. Get your stomach ulcer back in line because we're gonna need you to make justice out. Okay?
Don't be pulling punches.
I was excited for that. That was on my birthday. I was gonna pay-per-view it, watch it with the boys.
It's on Netflix, though, isn't it?
Or whatever it was gonna be on. Was it?
It's on Netflix, yeah.
Oh, that's so clutch. Perfect.
It is, isn't it? Don't have to pay for it. It's just
perfect.
I mean,
that's why they
pay
have
for their subscription, but they have ads now.
Yeah, or they're going to.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Whatever.
I cancel it after the Tyson fight.
Yeah, it's like $12 a month now, or $18 a month, or something.
It's done with the ads. Yeah.
Remember, it was like $6 or $7 a month. Oh my gosh!
I remember it was like $9.
I remember when I was using someone else's. I mean, just kidding, but hypothetically. And so this new ruling is just like me.
That's your limitations, Gilly. You're cool.
Megan's got hers, so we just use hers.
Yeah.
I pay for Peacock, and that's
how you do it. If it's within your household, it's still fine, which is totally what we did.
Yeah, I mean, split up the subscriptions, man.
Got the same VPN. It's cool.
100%. We split up ours too. All right. Is it UFC time, Jay?
Yeah. Islam versus Dustin.
It's time to tap out.
Well, first, I have some notes because I watched most of the card.
Nice.
Fans will know that Kevin Holland, that was wild. He almost broke his opponent's arm in like 87 places. All we know is that there was a pop where it's definitely not supposed to pop. And I was watching in horror because he has him in like this arm bar grab, and he is like wrenching his arm in multiple directions, bending it in ways no arm should bend. And I'm like, we are literally going to see this limb snap off of this man any moment. But he tapped out after the weird pop. So we have some fun quotes too, because I had to note them every time they happened. So constant toast to the bread basket was a favorite. That's referring to kicking someone on the stomach. Cardio abandonment, which is me every time I go up and down the stairs, was somebody trying to keep up during the 5 rounds. He said, feed him the hip a lot during one of the cards. And they said, let the dog out, piss all over the floor was another one. That was one of the coaches screaming at his, when they come back in, like in between each round, looking like they just went through hell and back. He told them.
Yeah.
So those are my favorite. Yeah, it was intense as hell because Islam is insane. He is like a Anacobra or something. He just keeps bringing your ass to the ground. Like he finds every excuse, punch, kick, anything, a slight loss of balance, and he gonna bring you to the ground, and he gonna snake you. He's gonna like wrap his limbs around you, and he's gonna like smother the life. And so he did that multiple times. And then he also like broke Dustin's nose or something because it started bleeding everywhere. And Dustin said so. I believe Dustin mentioned that he broke it. So then like we have all the blood while he's squeezing him, very dramatic. But then Dustin, like something came out of him, the other side came out. He pissed all over the floor with his dog because he started getting like really angry. It's like something broke in him, And so then he gave Islam like this really big nugget on the right side of his head. Like this, I mean, I don't even know how he got, like, I'm like, did he have a shank or something? Because it looked like he got knifed or something. He had like this huge cut on his eye, and he was like bleeding profusely from the face. I mean, Islam looked like he was dead. And then the 5th round, we're like, okay, this is a close one. This round is gonna call it. We're not sure which way we're going at this point because Dustin had landed a lot of good hits, but at the same time, Islam had him on the ground like every 5 seconds. But then at the he did some solid punches. He's not going down. He managed to get out of a couple holds. He's like, I'm staying up on the ground. But then at the end, Islam brought him down and squeezed his neck with a vice grip, and he had to tap out. I think that he went sleepy bye-bye for a second because his eyes shut. But either way, it was his little neck looked like his head was going to explode off of it. And then he tapped out, and then the game was over, and we were all like, oh, because, well, like I lived in Louisiana for like 10 years. And as we all know, Dustin Poirier is from Lafayette. And so kind of a connection there, but it was really sad. But I mean, even my significant other, he thought that he wouldn't last more than 2 rounds. Because Islam is a snake, literally, figuratively, all of the things. And he can do it all. He can punch, he can kick, he can bring you to the ground. Like he's a multi-dimensional kind of monster out there. And so, yeah, I was proud to see Dustin hang on. He might be retiring. And not just a false, like, oh, I'm going to retire for attention. He really might be. And so he brought his daughter to the game, which was awesome. Anyway. So it was really intense, but not as intense as I was hoping because I wanted Dustin to bring him down, and I was like, oh, stop going on the ground, but he wouldn't, so Islam took it.
That's his 14th win in a row, right?
Yeah, something like that. He's undefeated, something another.
Yeah.
Islam is a beast. I've seen him in several matches by now, and it's just a combination of being able to do it all, and it's really hard to do anything against him because he can make anything another experience on the ground with him.
Mm-hmm.
And he just like snakes, he like slithers around it. I was like, this is National Geographic, when a cobra is trying to get a dinner. That's what it looks like. And I guess him and Khabib like practice in the same area or something like that. They come from the same area in Russia or whatever. And so I guess that makes sense. Where whatever they're doing is a lot. Okay. I guess they have very like this is like a specific fighting style for people from that region, and Khabib is Khabib, right? So
one other thing, have they talked yet about what Islam will be doing, what he will be doing next?
I don't know. He shouted out somebody's name that he wanted to fight again, but I was kind of grieving at that point, so I kind of missed it. But like, I don't think there's anything in the works at this point, you know?
Nothing set. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I'm sure it'll be a matter of time since he's always out there killing everybody. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Speaking of sports with worldwide appeal, we'll go to the European Championship this weekend.
Oh, I got
Real
some memes for
Madrid.
this one. I got some memes. Yes, I do, because I know y'all, Don Carlo, I know he has another name, but to me, he don't. Oh, wait. Okay. Don Carlo, by the way, is the Real Madrid coach. He's won title in all 5 major leagues. I asked Shazir, my boyfriend, to break down all of the biggest things that stood out to him during the game. This was really helpful for me because I watched it, but and he's the winningest championship coach ever. He's won 5 times. I can't talk about Don Carlo without talking about Don Carlo, you know what I mean? So, let me see. This is one of them, but I wanted to do the other one first. So y'all seen this one, right?
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah. Okay. That's why his nickname is Don Carlo, because he's the monocle guy. I'm like, he is hilarious. His face, I was like, I've never seen him before. I never really focused on him before, and I was like, this is hilarious. So anyway, and then he did a post-championship dance, and yes, we do have to cover this one because it is that good. Look at him go. He's like 65. And I was like, no, you're gonna break him. It reminded me of that time when Sean Payton was dancing after the he's hilarious, but I was like, do not drop this man because he's like 87. Anyways, so Real Madrid, they won what was it, 2-0 against Dortmund? Am I saying that right? The German team?
Yeah, I believe
yes.
so, yeah.
Yeah, and then so Don Carlo here said, y'all got to step it up in the second half, okay? He gave them all the pep talk in the halftime saying y'all being lazy. So they did. Oh, and there was a streaker in the first, 90 seconds of the game. So always a highlight. He did not get tackled by Wagner, so it's, not as good as when it happens in the NFL, but you get what you get. So, Tony Cruz is retiring on a high. He is retiring earlier than he has to. He's one of the best players on the roster, been there forever, but and he's relatively young, could keep playing, but this seems to be his end. So when I asked, Dortmund had 3 chances to score in the first half, but they didn't, and so that got their ass in the end. That was his feeling about why they weren't able to come back. And then when I asked who the best player was, he said the goalie was pretty good. Had a weird name, so I just put goalie. He kept him in the game by keeping out all the points, obviously. And there's 4 players on Real Madrid who had won championships 6 times. So that team is one for, we all know Real Madrid, and they are killing it. And Vinicius Jr., who we've been talking about in the True Crime podcast because he's been really honest about his experiences with racism in Spain with soccer. People making monkey chants at him, for example. So that's been a pretty big deal. And then it was just really nice to see him getting highlighted for the player that he is. And it's a shame to see that he's one of the best on the team, but he still gets treated that way. But anyway, he had 8 dribbles, which is more than every other Real Madrid player combined. And to give you an idea, Messi got 10 in the 2015 championship. So dribbling is when you like have the ball between your legs and you go kick, you know. And Vinicius is in the running for best soccer player of the year. For like all of the leagues, the entire sport. It's called Balloon d'Or. So he's looking to be the MVP for that.
Yeah, I was just going to say that Real Madrid, I mean, if you don't know anything about soccer, like you said, you've heard of them.
Mm-hmm.
But they said post broadcast, 6 of the last 11 European championships they've won,
Mm-hmm.
which, if you think of dynasties, I mean, that's Yankee level, that's Tom Brady, Patriots level
Mm-hmm.
dynasties. And they did it without Messi, they did
Yeah.
it post Messi. So, it just really cements them into legendary status. And the game was really good and tight.
It
And
felt
all the
good.
chances were for Real Madrid were the second half. And like you said, first half they had chances. Bortman did, and they hit the post. I
Yeah.
mean, I was falling on the floor. I was like, how do you miss it? They hit
Right.
the post so flush. It went all the way across. And on the opposite post, it was like 18 inches in front. Do you know how
Yeah.
flush it has to be to hit
Oh,
one post and go all the way across? And you're only like 18 inches from the opposing post.
it was hard
It
to
was
be that
literally a
accurate
half
and
inch
wrong.
cut from being in.
Yeah.
It would change the whole game. But it
Absolutely.
did not, so it doesn't matter. So, but wow,
Yeah.
it was a great game.
He also said that every time Vinicius has the ball, he has an opportunity to score. Like it's a very real opportunity that he would score. And like that is such a good point. Like he's such a power player. He's always making moves. I was really impressed. I mean, there's a few people that stood out, but especially him. So yeah, I felt quick. Sometimes the games feel like they go for 107 years, but this one felt like concise.
I
And
agree. They were very tight the whole way. It was very competitive the whole way.
yeah, yeah, he was falling out of his chair. So I know that if I was a soccer fan, I would have been pumped. And even I was like yelling at the TV sometimes because like what are yeah, but I mean Dortmund basically wasn't even there. Like I just wasn't even really paying attention to them. It was just watching what Real Madrid did, you know,
Yeah,
with
I
dunk.
understand, but to play Real Madrid and it's like almost 80 of the 90 minutes in before you finally score. And it
Mhm.
was like the air went totally out of the balloon for Bortman. Once they scored, 5 minutes later, Real scored again. And if you didn't watch the game and just saw the score, you thought, oh, they just kicked their back in. But
Mhm.
it wasn't like that at all. It was very even 3/4 of the game, but it doesn't matter because Real Madrid put it in the back of the net with that one shot that went all the way to the top.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, it was insane.
yeah, it was a beauty. That one really got him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think we about have covered all the topics for today. I wanted to circle back for one. I always ask everybody if they want to circle back for one, but I did want to circle back for Caleb about any thoughts you had about the NBA, the playoffs going into next, uh, you know, the conference semis, conference finals.
What a letdown.
Hey man,
That's the
What
way
a
we all felt. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I mean, it's like the anti NHL playoffs. I mean, total opposite. And then to double down on it, now they got to wait until stinking June 6th.
which is
Like
dumb.
scheduling there as leaves a lot to be desired. So it was like Minnesota was allergic to winning at home. Like they just refused to do it.
They were allergic to winning anything.
So yeah, I think Edwards was probably just tapped out. I think he gave it all in the semi-conference finals. and Gobert and Cat just played like bums. Indiana, I feel like that series was really close. I mean, 3 of those games that they lost were 3 points or less. You know, they just didn't have the horse to kind of get over the hump, but not many teams do against Boston.
No.
Well, I guess everybody's had all their shots at what was kind of a weird mixed week of sports. And anyone have anything to promote? Any social media or anything going on? We'll start with Ryan and kind of work our way around.
I don't the podcast here. Our channel. We're closing on 450 subscribers. We started off with 2 in July of last year, so we just broke our channel record. 166 new subscribers in the month of May, which is more than any other month we've had the channel open.
I attribute that to Jay.
Yeah, Jay's definitely, dude. You've been on for a month, man. It's all you.
I mean, 1 + 1 makes 2, right?
It's also up to the subscribers, so thank you everybody who subscribed. And
because Julie reminds people to ding the bell. You know,
but
I was about to say like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and thank you so much for supporting us. And every subscription means so much to us. I mean, imagine it, guys. There's a room of 450 people, and they all watching our stuff. Like, it's kind of shocking.
Technically,
that's pretty wild.
Actually,
they all should get together and watch. They should have a watch party.
97% of the people who watch us are new to the channel.
That is really impressive, and you know, just focus on this side of the screen so that y'all won't watch one time. But I do want us to promote my personal X page, which is Ajax Allen. It's Ajax Mem on Twitter. Okay, to remind people, because Memphis has to be part of the name. Okay. And also Ajax, because I looked it up on the internet and nobody had the URL. So that's why I spell it that way. And you can find me, usually what's happening is at any particular time of week, you can see me on my timeline. I'll be scrapping with like a 85-year-old great-grandparents and like 17-year-old high school students. So that's usually my timeline. So it's really interesting stuff.
Oh yeah, because you're mean to people. Have
I
mean, to yell at young kids and be mean to old ladies.
That's right. Stay off my lawn. Yeah.
Oh,
Julie.
I will probably be writing an article about Bill's foot and about foot surgeries in Bill Walton's foot and foot surgeries in the 70s. So keep an eye out for that. I post all my stuff from all the websites that I write for on my Twitter. It's Miller Crime. So
it's Miller Crime.
It is.
Okay.
Tis is.
Caleb?
Just what is it? At the Cap 11?
Cap 11,
it out.
At Cap 11, yeah, Bob.
So I'm told.
I actually saw a video on Twitter from Barstool Sports about cosmic baseball.
Yes.
That's intriguing, right?
That would be really cool and also terrifying, because everything would just look like a fist missile.
Yeah. It would.
Oh man.
Stop hitting the ball 200 miles an hour.
And then I don't know if you guys have seen the thing from Barstool. Also, the random guy in the crowd that got to caddy at the Canadian Open.
Yeah, I just saw that. Yeah.
Man, imagine that. You just show up to the links, gonna watch some golf. Oh, next thing you know, you're caddying for, and it's not Tiger Woods, obviously, but I mean, shoot, it's a pro golfer. What's up?
Yeah.
That's pretty badass.
It's pretty cool.
So,
life comes at you fast.
Yeah. Better bring your watch.
Well, I guess we've about ready to wrap up, since Julie's already reminded everybody, hey, we have a YouTube channel. Hit that button. That way you'll be reminded, hey, it's time for some lunacy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Coming up on the 1 year anniversary of the channel, or well, actually the podcast.
Yeah.
1 year anniversary is at the end of the month, so.
All right.
Yeah, well, let's get to 500 by then, hey?
Absolutely.
Ooh, that sounds like a good goal.
I like that challenge. Hit subscribe. Help us out.
It's obtainable.
Absolutely.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Y'all have a good week.
You too.